Listed here are some of the most shocking airplane disturbances caught on tape throughout time. Some of the victims lost their lives in the most painful of ways. May their souls rest in peace, and most sincere condolences to their families. Number 5. Ice Poseidon swatted on airplane. Swatting is when one calls the police about a streamer because of a spurious threat or violence. It can be a very unfortunate and very common occurrence to live streamers. The endgame is a SWAT team barging in the door, and the whole ordeal is captured on video. April of 2017 was the first time it actually was done on a plane. Ice Poseidon, a Twitch streamer, was on a plane from Phoenix to Los Angeles when someone called in a bomb threat using his name. Apparently, Poseidon was live streaming in the airport before his flight when he told viewers his exact gate and terminal number. Police escorted him out of the plane, and the FBI questioned him for hours. He was later let go and cleared of any wrongdoing. In a video Poseidon posted later on, he speculated to his viewers that the troll who called in the bomb threat was the same one who swatted him some time before. He continued, saying he's now afraid of going live at DreamHack, a large video gaming convention, as he fears the troll would strike again. According to him, the troll had initially swatted his home, but swatting the plane was a whole other level. No one would surely expect that. Swatting to anyone is an abusive act, and it was a fixture of the deeply toxic and reactionary Gamergate movement a number of years ago. Streamers can contact their local police departments if they feel targeted or swatted in their homes. This would prevent further incidences. While reporting being swatted at home could be easy, how about one who's live streaming on a location away from home, say hotels or planes? Does it mean every time one wants to live stream from a plane or any public place they should report to their local police department first in order to avoid being swatted? At this very point, it's not easy not feeling a little bit helpless. Number 4. Ethiopian Airline B767 hijack. In 1996, an Ethiopian airliner was hijacked, ran out of fuel, and then crashed into the Indian Ocean. The plane carried 175 passengers on board. At least 100 people were killed when it broke out during an emergency landing 1,640 feet from a holiday beach in Comoro Island. At least 56 survived the plane crash, and a few others were badly injured. Several Americans were confirmed to be on board the plane, 8 Israelis, and Britain confirmed 8 Britons on board. 3 Italians were reported to have survived. Minutes after the impact, tourists and islanders were able to reach the site, and about 50 people were believed to have been rescued alive from the wreckage. This included 2 of the suspected hijackers. A party of 20 French doctors were among the first reported to have reached the scene of the boats. Survivors, including captain and his co-pilot, were rushed to local hospitals. The airline had been flying from Addis Ababa to Nairobi when it was hijacked by 3 men, approximately 3 hours before it was forced to ditch into the sea. In the early evening, a military diver went into the fuselage, and estimated 60 to 80 passengers remained strapped in their chairs and had drowned. According to eyewitnesses, the sea was rough and the plane just broke on impact. The hotel manager, Bruce Thompson, said it certainly was a crash landing, not a nosedive. The fuselage later confirmed to have broken into 3 pieces. According to the BBC, one of the airliner's officials said the hijackers were transit passengers who had traveled from Bombay, India on the first leg of the flight. They demanded that the pilot take them to Australia and did not take his word when he told them there was not enough fuel. He persuaded the men he couldn't because he needed to refuel at Hahaya Airport, 15 miles from the scene of the crash. They forced their way into the cockpit and beat up the co-pilot before shoving him back into the airliner's passenger section. One of the hijackers is said to have had a bomb, and in his other hand a bottle of whiskey, with a single demand of going to Australia. The hijackers even attempted to fly the plane themselves at one point, taking a headset from the pilot. For this reason, the Comoros control tower was never contacted as the plane approached the island. Motive to the hijacking has remained unclear to date. 2 of the hijackers identified by the pilot were put into custody on the island. Number 3. Final phone call from Flight 11 on 9/11. Al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked 4 American passenger planes on September 11, 2001. Chilling insights on the terror unfolding inside the 4 planes were relayed by passengers and flight attendants in phone calls, voicemails, text messages, and, unwittingly, by the terrorists themselves. American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175, 2 of the hijacked planes, were crashed into the north and south towers of the World Trade Center. Flight 77, the 3rd plane, was crashed into the Pentagon, and a 4th crashed into the field after passengers made an attempt to stop the terrorists. 2,996 people died, including the 19 terrorists. Thanks to the radios of the first responders, mobile phones, the office phones in the Twin Towers, and even phones in the hijacked airliners, a number of people who lost their lives that day were able to send one last message to the outside world. The hijackers had a suicide mission to turn civilian airliners into giant missiles laden with jet fuel, targeting the most potent symbols of American military, economic, and political might. They had taken flying lessons and flight simulators for this mission, but then it turned out they had no idea how to operate the plane's radio and intercom systems, so they accidentally broadcast their messages that were intended to deceive the passengers to air traffic controllers. The voices were detailed in the 9/11 Commission report in a dramatic opening chapter entitled, "We Have Some Planes," the first alarming words coming from a terrorist. At 7:59, American Flight 11 took off from Boston to Los Angeles and made its last routine communication at 11:14 a.m. Minutes later, a Boston air traffic controller heard what turned out to be a message from one of the hijackers saying, "We have some of the planes, just stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're returning to the airport," followed by a minute later, "Nobody move, everything will be okay. If you try to make any moves, you will endanger yourself and the plane." In a more recent documentary, this was confirmed to be Mohammed Atta, an Egyptian hijacker and one of the ringleaders of the attacks who served as the hijacker pilot of the American Airlines Flight 11.
American Airlines emergency line, please state your emergency.
Hey, this is Nitty at American Airlines calling. I am monitoring a call in which Flight 11, the flight attendant is advising our reps that the pilot, everyone's been stabbed.
Flight 11?
Yeah. They can't get into the cockpit is what I'm hearing.
Okay, who's this I'm talking to?
Number 2. Delta pilot hits passenger. This was a video released by the TMZ. A Delta Airlines pilot whacked a female passenger who was involved in a fight with another woman at the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. According to the TMZ, the incident occurred on April 21, 2017. As seen in the video, a 3rd woman walks up and kicks at the 2 women in a catfight, then makes an attempt to separate them. The pilot then appears, grabs one of the women by the arm, then hits her. You can hear a raised voice say, "Knock it off." The pilot then walks away while the women are still on the ground. The women continue to fight and an onlooker yells, using not safe for work language, then the video ends. Almost immediately after the incident, a Delta employee reportedly submitted the video to the superiors. A representative from Delta responded saying the airline is investigating and taking the matter very seriously. Apparently, the women in the video knew each other and had reportedly gotten into a skirmish earlier on the plane. Delta officials told the TMZ the video doesn't show everything and the pilot punched the woman because she had the other woman in a chokehold and was trying to get her to release the grip. The pilot was reported to have resumed work because the Delta Airlines investigation found that his actions de-escalated an altercation between passengers on the jetway floor during deplaning. Number 1. Chinese doctor dragged out of seat on United Airlines. A video of a passenger being dragged off of a Chicago-Louisville flight, bloodying his nose and leaving him dazed in the process, has gone viral, receiving thousands of infuriated posts. The man has not yet been identified and was heard saying he was being profiled for being Chinese. A passenger told CNN in an interview before police officers, by the use of force, removed him from his seat on the overbooked flight. Many commenters who are among the millions who viewed the video called for a boycott of United, passing an accusation to the airline for discriminating against the passenger because he's Chinese. Chinese. One commenter said, "They stay silent because they fear losing face, and that's why the Western mainstream media and the public do not discriminate against Asia seriously." Another swore in the comments that he'd never book a United flight again in his life. Representatives for United in China did not respond to a request for comment on the incident. A renowned Chinese comedian was one of the many Chinese commentators on social media denouncing United's treatment of an Asian passenger. He denounced the airline for discriminating against Asians. In a later statement released by the airline, 4 crew members needed to get to a flight departing from Louisville, otherwise it would be cancelled. Passengers from the plane were asked to give up their seats voluntarily. No one volunteered, and so they were left with no option but to use involuntary deboarding for the situation. 4 passengers were selected, including the man in the video, but not because of his ethnicity.
Pilots drive to Louisville? Can't they rent a car for the pilots and have them drive? Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! Guys, my God! What are you doing? No, this is wrong! Oh my God! Look at what you did to him! Oh my God!
Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to click that like button if you enjoyed it, and check out more of our videos. Goodbye.